Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we look at the latest comics and other media featuring the Transformers. In this week's episode, we launch ourselves back out into space with a review of Skybound's Void Rivals number 14. Today is Friday, November 29th, 2024, and this is episode 418 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that is also no longer financing major motion pictures. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Let's talk Transformers.
As always, we start off the show by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who support us on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you all so much for continuing to help us out and keep this show going. We really appreciate it. If you are not a Donatreon and would like to become one, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support. That's where you can sign up. You get access to watching the show live, get automatically entered into all our contests, and you get access to bonus content that includes our bonus show, We Like Big Bots. And that's available right now on our Patreon page for all our Donatrons. That's a show by Daryl and Dr. Pants that talks about all the big bots in their collection. They do a bot-specific episode every once in a while, we'll say. And there are 14 episodes available right now, so you can take a look at all those and just enjoy. We've also got our Transformers Live Play RPG podcast, Empire of Rust. The bonus version of episode 129 is out this week, so that is Zombicide. So the regular version of Zombicide, this episode will be out on Monday, December 2nd, so in just a couple days at transmissionspodcast.com/rust. Everyone who's a Donatron gets to hear the bonus episode early, the bonus version of the episode early. So it's uncut with lots of all the stuff that is not, is edited out of the regular version is in there. So enjoy. Next up, we've got our exclusive Skybound Transformers number 1 comic that we commissioned. It has the artwork by E.J. Sue with, that we commissioned, and we're very grateful to him for letting us use his art on our book. And you can get that at transmissionspodcast.com/comic. You can pick that up directly from our website. So if you want a very special cover for Transformers number 1 from Skybound, you can pick that up. And we've still got a few of our Till All Are One cover from 2016. That's also available on our website. So just go to transmissionspodcast.com/comic.
As we get closer to the holidays, it's a great stocking stuffer.
Yes.
Just use a bag and a board.
All right. Next up, we normally have a Toy Hacks code for getting 15% off discount using our code. But since it's Black Friday, Toy Hacks is already doing their own Black Friday sale for 30% off most of the sets on their website. So you don't need a special code or anything like that. Just go straight to their website, toyhacks.com, and take advantage of that Black Friday sale. We'll have another code starting in December. So if you missed this sale and you still want to get some stuff, use our code throughout the month of December. We'll have that probably next episode. But for right now, just use that take advantage of that 30% off sale for Black Friday. And meet us back here next month. All right, let's get into the rest of Alt Mode, and we'll start off with a little bit of comics news. Okay, first up, just one item in comics news. So the Transformers Battersea store that is being set up in the UK and should be available actually as this show goes up, it should already be available. You can get a exclusive Skybound Transformers number 1 cover for that store in the UK, and there are going to be 2,024 copies of this limited edition color print. and 400 of the original sketch of Optimus Prime towering over the Battersea Power Station. So that is the UK store. There, you can see that's the cover. And yet another Transformers #1 Skybound cover. But yeah, this, I guess if you want to support this store, you can pick it up there. And this is the first official permanent standalone Transformers store in the UK, and it is now open for business. So you can pick up that comic there. Probably you can pick up a lot of cool Transformers toys there, since it's a permanent Transformers store.
Yeah.
But yeah, and this this artwork is by Pypar. That's their Instagram handle. So yeah, check
Wonder
out
why
their
they
work on
picked the
Instagram.
UK for this store. Why not? Why not Canada?
More people.
Sure, but I mean,
it's a less risky place to try it out.
UK is smaller. It has a bigger population, a smaller area, so it's maybe easier for people to travel to that store than the more spread out US or Canada. So
I guess
I can't make out on the cover. What printing is this? Like
42nd.
Oh, it is ridiculous. The number of printings this book has.
Yeah.
Well, the book itself just got to its 10th printing, but yeah, it's probably in and around there.
Yeah, these exclusive covers don't figure into that, do they?
No, but I mean, if you look under the issue number, it says something printing.
Mm-hmm.
No. Let's see.
Oh wait, that's a. You can get 8th.
This is 8th.
I think so. Doesn't that say 8th?
No, I think that's 10th.
Oh, is 10th
printing? I think.
I don't know. It's ridiculous. However many it is.
Oh no, maybe you're right. Maybe it is 8th. I don't know.
This might also be something where it's been printed for a while and just hadn't been released because of the store.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
11th.
Possible.
11th.
Maybe 8th.
It looks like it's 6 letters.
Yeah, I think it's 8th. I think Jeremy was right.
Maybe. Yeah, the second letter is an I. So yeah, 8th. TH is the end. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's 8th. All right. I zoomed in. Enhanced.
All right, well, that's all the comics news. So let's get into our comic review.
All right, we are looking at Void Rivals number 14 this week. This was written by Robert Kirkman, art by Lorenzo Di Felici, colors by Patricio Del Pesce, letters by Rush Wooten, editors Ben Abernathy. The story starts in a dark room where the Zertonian leader Zaliak is being asked by Mistress Zill if he accepts the offer to walk, or if he accepts her offer to walk the path of light. He states that his methods have done nothing but fail so far, so he's open to learning from her. So she has him rise as she calls him pretender to the throne, but the future is now bright and full of hope. In Agoria, Derek is speaking with his father, trying to convince him that unity is the way forward, but his father isn't listening. Doolin is convinced that unity will bring Goliant, which will cause the end. When Derek asks what this Goliant is, his father starts explaining that one of his main regrets in life was not sharing this burden that his father had passed down to him. The two are interrupted by news that something has been detected approaching the sacred ring, and that it appears to be a vessel of some sort. Doolin tells Derek that they'll finish their conversation later as he goes to deal with the situation. But Derek says that he's coming along. In deep space, Skuxxoid is on his asteroid ship, sitting on the floor in depression, when suddenly he jumps up, asking himself, what is he doing? He's got a wife and kids to provide for. Somewhere else in uncharted space, the Cobra-La forces have lost the signal that they were tracking. But they found where it ended, and it was at an area that had, it appears that there was a collision. Some of the debris had gotten stuck in their Leviathan ship's eye, and 2 of their group have gone outside to remove it. It's putting off radiation that's interfering with their sensors. Outside the ship, Dracula, one of the 2, has reached the debris. But as she touches it, a green light flashes and she's thrown away from the ship. But fortunately, Bola is able to grab her. Dracula says that she's okay, but she doesn't see that the object has infected her with something. Back on the ring, as Celia continues her journey to find Zerta through a dark triangle-shaped passage, Handroid is worried because he's not detecting anything at all. Celia is sure that she's on the right path until she stops as the path has split into 3. Handroid has no help to give as he still can't get any good readings from his sensors, and Celia is not feeling that she's called to any particular direction. But she gets an idea and pulls out the glowing key that she has, shining it on each passage, but she gets nothing from the first 2. However, the third one glows green when the key's light hits it. Seeing this, Celia continues down that path. Back in Agoria, Doolin is getting a report about the incoming object. It's heading straight for them, and Doolin believes that it must be a new Zertonian weapon. He orders some jump jets to take off and shoot on sight, but Derek yells that it can't be a Zertonian weapon. He's been there, and they don't have that kind of resources. They can't risk pilots just going out and attacking whatever this is without cause. So he demands to go out himself, and reluctantly Doolin agrees. While prepping for the flight, Director Blandard notes that Derek is missing his Handroid unit and has him select a new one. As Derek puts it on, he feels weird after being with his previous ones for so long. Then as he gets into his ship, he tells the new Handroid that he's to be revived the instant that they cross the event horizon, and then they launch. In space, the Handroid unit does as ordered and attempts to wake Derek up, but he's not responding. Then Derek and Celia meet again in some kind of vision. They confirm that they really are somehow communicating, and they catch each other up. Derek reveals that his data packet was confiscated, and she knows that they probably already knew what it contained, and they're just covering up the proof. He realized that a little bit too late himself. He also reveals that the high-ranking officials also know that they're all the same race, and they're colluding to keep their people separate. She yells that he should have led with that, but then the connection is broken and they both wake up. Derek's ship was just about to hit the incoming ship, but Handroid says that he was following the mission to intercept and he was going to change course at the last moment. On the other ship, Hot Rod is angry that someone was trying to ram him, and he opens fire. Thankfully, Derek realized that they're warning shots because no one could be that bad at hitting a target. He then tries to find an open channel, and he opens with an apology for the close call. Hot Rod introduces himself, and once he says the word Cybertron, Derek is shocked. Continuing her search, Celia is trying to make sense of what just happened. Clearly, Zerta connected her with Derek for a reason, but she doesn't know why. Feeling her way through this dark passage, she feels a wall in front of her. It's a dead end. As she pulls the key out to get some light, Handroid says that the floor is opening, and they fall through. In space, we see another ship has arrived near the sacred ring. The Quintessons on board knows that the fabled ring of the one that should not be named does actually exist, and they will finally have their revenge. So there was a lot in this issue, and I enjoyed most of it. I mean, basically anything with Derek or Celia, I really liked. I love that Derek is getting some sort of answer from his father, and we have this Goliath thing that is teased. But this is really just all leading up, to when he launches into space. And I want to see more of the interaction with Hot Rod. I hate that we have to wait another month for that. For that, um, the Skuxxoid stuff. I'm not sure what is. You're getting a page, an issue of this story, and I wish they would just save it all and give us, a good chunk all at once instead of this, because it's just I'm forgetting what had happened, and then I remember, and I mean, he suddenly realizes he has a wife and kids to provide for, but we just saw that his home was empty. There are no wife and kids there, so I don't know what's going on with that, and I'm not given enough per issue to really care what's going on. So that's frustrating. The Cobra-La bit was interesting. That was a little bit of meat there, but again, it's just set up for something that's going to happen probably in 3 or 4 issues. But then it was just the Solia stuff. Clearly this is an interesting mystery to find, and then the Derek stuff going into space, finally encountering Hot Rod. Hot Rod says he's looking for his friend, who Derek already knows is Springer. So that's what I'm really interested in this book for. But I thought the art was okay. In the beginning of the book, the faces looked really weird, and I think the faces have always looked kind of off for me. But I thought Hot Rod looked really good. The Cobra-La characters looked really good, but I don't know, just some of the Zertonian and whatever their races are, those faces just have always looked a little weird for me. But anyway, I mean, I enjoyed it more than I didn't. So I'm really looking forward to, continuing these stories. And it's just frustrating how slow it goes. Charles, let's start with you. What do you think of the book?
I pretty much echo a lot of your comments there. The pace is pretty, um, yeah, not great. I mean, I know we've talked about this before with Robert Kirkman. Like this is his decompressed storytelling style. I wish that they didn't drop dropping single pages of story for each storyline that you've got cooking is a good way to not to basically have people forget about
Mm-hmm.
what they're following here. So I mean the Skuxxoid page. I think they could have gotten rid of the Skuxxoid page and added another page with Hot Rod and Derek, so
Yeah.
we don't have the start of the conversation and nothing else. I mean, that's like, did you say Cybertron? Yes. I know someone from Cybertron. His name is Springer. Oh, I know Springer. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, all that's yeah. Can we get some of that? Don't save that for next issue.
And the next
Um,
issue, you're not going to get enough to really be satisfied either.
yeah. The artwork is fine for me. It's okay. It's not amazing for me. Yeah, some of the faces are weird. I did like the spirit plane Derek and
Mm-hmm.
Solila when they're like talking to each other on the astral plane, and they're all like energon ghost people. Um, thought that was interesting. Um, the Zertonian key being a guide was really cool, and that having it light up to show her the way, I thought that was neat. Um, but yeah, I mean that's it. We don't get a whole lot of progression here, so it's kind of all right. So wait for next issue. So it's yeah, I mean I think this is probably going to be a lot better in trade. It's
Yeah.
not issue to issue is it's pretty frustrating.
Yeah. And I noticed the trade that this is a part of, this volume, is called the key to Vector Theta, which I thought was
Mm,
a fun play on, since we have the key thing.
yeah, interesting.
All right, Daryl, we know that you have not a lot of love for this side of the Energon universe, but there was a Transformer in it briefly. What were your thoughts?
Hey, this book has Transformers in it and has had Transformers in it from issue 1. So this is my second favorite Energon universe title. So yeah, this was a slow burn. I wasn't real keen to the kryptonite that was being grabbed there from the weird spaceship's eye thing. So I don't know what's going on there, but whatever. I so I I read this book and I kind of feel like I missed issue 13. I'd have to go back and look at it again because a lot of these plot points I feel like I've missed the start of. But so there's a possibility I missed issue 13, but I own it, so I just didn't read it.
You might not have been on the show, so you had no
there's a
motivation
possibility
to read it.
Yeah. I really did like the designs that they used for the spaceships. I mean, obviously, Hot Rod's ship is like the moon base ships that they used in the '86 movie. So I appreciated that. The Chilean ship is a nice design as well. But
I like the size difference between the two when you see them next to each other.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's you can tell that something pretty big is in the Cybertronian ship. So, but you don't know it's Cybertronian at the time. So yeah, no, it's a good looking design. So yeah, I liked that. And then at the end, we get to see a Quintessons ship. So, yeah.
Did you say Quintessons?
No. Yeah. So there's some cool stuff happening in the book, but it's such a slow burn that I've been finding it really difficult to get excited about this series. So, but again, like I've said, we've talked about it, and this is the Robert Kirkman way. It's just a slow burn, and then all of a sudden something crazy is going to happen. You'll be like, "Oh God, I love this series," and then you'll realize you hate it for 6 to 7 issues, and then there'll be one issue you just absolutely gets you right back on board. So that's his way, and for whatever reason, we love it. So yeah, but yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in this issue that I'm like, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Cool.
Yeah. One thing I am like finding, I mean, I know this is all sci-fi and crazy, weird stuff, whatever, but Cobra-La is on Earth. They're like, weird, non-technological, like all their technology is organic. They don't use like metal or anything. They apparently have faster than light travel with organic thingy living things and they still are like a secret society hiding out on Earth. They haven't taken over the Earth with technology that can do faster than light space travel.
Yeah, there's been not enough explanation. I feel like a year into this universe, we should have more answers than we have.
Yeah. I just don't get having Cobra-La be like, we're going to go out into space and find the Transformers because we don't like metal things being living things, and we've got space travel. That seems like you need metal for space travel. I think you're gonna need some like some reinforced things to go out in space. I mean, I don't know. It seems. Yeah, that's the bridge too far for me.
Yeah.
It's the straw that broke you, huh?
Yeah.
Like, what are their magic suits made of that they wear that they go into space? Right? Like
It's
animal skins.
I think it's supposed to be kind of like an insect carapace or something. I don't know. That's just my headcanon.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's our review.
Okay, so that's it for Void Rivals number 14, and the next issue will be at the end of the month, I believe, after Christmas. So, or on maybe it'll be, but probably the day after Christmas. So Christmas is Wednesday this year, so they're not doing they don't have the comic books come out on Christmas Day. So, look forward to that. All right, let's move on with some media news.
All right. And we're going to talk about Hasbro and their latest business dealings recently. Obviously, by this image you're seeing on the screen, I can gather that Jeremy pays for Bloomberg, the Bloomberg site.
I signed up for a free account so I can read one article, and this is the one article.
Okay, I am closing my site because I can't read it. So this was pretty big news this week. The fact that and one of the most misinterpreted pieces of news that came out of Hasbro for a long time is that the Hasbro and the headline here is Hasbro's gamer CEO to focus on play after pairing film assets. Now, that's not exactly the headline that went out to social media. Basically, it boiled down to Hasbro is going to stop funding feature film and focus more on toys and games. I mean, Hasbro is a toy and game company. What are they doing making movies? Okay, so there's a point to that, but there's also, well, we're in the Transformers community, and by and large, the Transformers movies have been good for the community. They've definitely been very good for the community, and recently have been decent movies. Bumblebee was excellent. Rise of the Beast was okay, and Transformers 1 was phenomenal.
And the Dungeons and Dragon movie was also really good. I mean, it's a Hasbro. It was fun.
It was fun. Yes, it was fun. So, problem is that these are business guys, and they don't care about whether the movie was fun or if it was a good movie. They care what it did at the box office, whether it made money or not. And unfortunately, the Transformers 1 movie is the most recent movie that Hasbro has been a part of, and it really didn't make its money back. And so this has spawned a conversation about whether or not Hasbro should even be involved with making movies. And it sounds like they aren't going to be. And so this is the part where the misinterpretation is coming in, and that the community has taken this headline and regurgitated it through this week about, well, Hasbro is going to stop making movies. That means there's going to be no more Transformers movies, right? And Jeremy and I were talking before the show started how that's not exactly what's being done. It's just Hasbro's getting out of the equation, right? The property is still, out there, same as, Marvel did in the 90s. They sold off their properties or leased their properties, I guess, and film studios still made the movies with the characters. So that's kind of still what's happening here. Hasbro itself is just getting out of the equation.
They're not financing.
Yeah, they're not putting any money into it.
It's essentially more of just a licensing like everyone else does. So like Paramount has the rights to make the Transformers movies. And so if they want to make a sequel to Rise of the Beast, they're the ones funding it. Hasbro's not putting any money in.
Right. So that also means that Hasbro has no say anymore, right? So they can put their characters can be used because Paramount has, Lorenzo de Bonaventura is the kind of the lead executive producer on this. As much as I love to hate him, he is the guy that kind of is in charge of the property, and for whatever, for all the good and bad that he does for the Transformers franchise, he is the one that can control whether or not the movies continue to get made. So that's kind of where it goes, and I kind of wanted to open the floor to the rest of us here, the panel, and just kind of say, where do you see the future of Transformers movies after Transformers 1? Charles, we'll start with you because I know Jeremy's probably got some ideas on this. So, Charles.
I mean, I would love for them to just do a Transformers 1 sequel, and I know that's higher risk now, since Transformers 1 didn't do great. But I mean, I hope that word of mouth will build for Transformers 1. I think when it's on streaming now, maybe more people will get to see it. And hopefully the streaming numbers will show, hey, this was actually a really good movie. You just had some issues with how you marketed it. If you had found your audience and convinced enough people to go see it, they would have loved it. Because I mean, that's the problem. The problem wasn't that the movie was bad or that the movie was, was not the right, didn't hit the right boxes for Transformers fans. The problem was the marketing turned people off, and they said, "Oh, it's just another Transformers movie," or it's
just
a Transformers movie, but it's just a kids movie, and I'm not a kid anymore. I want my adult Transformers movie, and that was this, but no one figured that out before seeing the movie. So I think that was the problem. Now that it's on streaming, there's a lower barrier to entry. You can say, "Hey, let's check out." Everyone said this was good, but I didn't bother to see it. Maybe it really was good, and I'll see it. Oh, this is really good. Hoping they make a sequel. Well, you should have gone to the theater and seen it. Should have been like Char and seen it, 27 times. um, but I hope that that's what they're thinking with the next Transformers movie. I do think it seems like they've already started the process for the Transformers G.I. Joe crossover, so I guess that will probably be the next movie.
Well, Lorenzo's talked about that movie, so
yeah,
he seems to be behind it.
Yeah. So I think that's going forward, even if Hasbro's not funding it. I mean, it seems like it's still going forward. Or maybe that's the last movie that they are funding. I don't know if it's already in production. So at the very least, we'll probably see that. I hope for a Transformers 1 sequel. Beyond that, no idea. I mean, maybe we'll have to wait a few years to have a completely another reboot Transformers live action movie or something, or completely rethink it. They rethink what they're going to do with Transformers, or I don't know. I don't know if I mean, I think the Transformers movies. I think at least the first Transformers movie I enjoyed, the 2007 movie. Despite the flaws it had, I was hopeful for when that movie came out. I was hopeful for sequels. Then the sequels kind of got progressively worse. So it was like they just ran it into the ground, and then managed to basically piss away all the goodwill for Transformers movies for the normies who aren't into Transformers. They just know them as mediocre movies with giant robots. So that's kind of frustrating that now Transformers is just associated with bad movies. So I mean, I don't know how to it's hard to get rid of that impression. But maybe maybe with the proper getting a lot of people to take advantage of Transformers One streaming. Maybe that'll help, but I don't know. This feels to me like what happened with IDW Comics, like Dreamwave Comics. They were like, they set sales records as well after after coming back to mainstream comics after 10 years or so in the early 2000s. And then after Dreamwave imploded and people people got frustrated with how I mean, I think the quality of the comics wasn't that bad, but the release schedule and just not lack of consistency and just complete implosion of the company kind of just ruined. At least it seemed to ruin comics buyers' impression of Transformers comics, to that when IDW came along and said, "Hey, we've got good Transformers comics and we're consistent and we've got lots of stuff," and then they never cracked like high sales numbers after when they came out. Like they started off, I think, in like low like 50,000 maybe. I think that was like their high point when they first started Transformers comics, and it was just real, like, all throughout the era where we think of as kind of the high point of Transformers comics with the More Than Meets the Eye and Robots in Disguise, they were barely cracking 10,000 issues, 10,000 copies an issue. And now, of course, with Skybound, they're like 100,000. They started off 100,000. They're still maintaining. I think they're probably. I mean, I don't know what their numbers are after a year, but it seems like they're still pretty popular. And IDW never got to those numbers, which is a shame. And I see the same thing happening with movies, where like the Bay movies did well for a while, but then you have diminishing returns where you can only do well with special effects and super thin story and things that don't make sense, and always focusing on the human stories rather than the Transformers. That works for maybe one or two movies, but then after that it goes downhill, and then now your movie franchise is kind of at a dead end. So that's, but then you've got actually good Transformers movies, because you're finally giving, you're putting creators in the seat who actually love Transformers and are fans of Transformers, rather than Michael Bay, who needed to be taught what a Transformer was
by Steven Spielberg.
So now it's too late. Now the movie going public's impression of Transformers is bad movies, and it's hard to overcome that. So I don't know. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of bright future, at least from what I can see.
I think the important thing to take away from this is that they're still going to make movies, though. They're not dead. Yeah. Is that they're just kind of like the studio is still going to make movies with Transformers, and I think because it is a franchise that they do know has a history with the public, so there is something there. The ones that are in trouble are something like that don't really have anything to resonate with right now. So I know we talked about the Dungeons and Dragons one, and that was a good movie. The chances of a sequel for that one are probably a lot slimmer now. I know they're working on a Magic the Gathering movie. That one seems like more of this is still going to happen because of the sheer popularity of Magic the Gathering. I know intertwined with this same article was one talking about the future of Magic the Gathering and how it is still Hasbro's biggest seller out of everything that they do. So that the likelihood of a movie being part of that seems still pretty likely, and they've been working on one for quite some time. But the fact that they can still make Transformers movies, they just have to do something a little different, right? Like we may see something with a different voice cast, right? Like the voice cast of Transformers 1 was insane, right? Like it had to have been very expensive. So, Jeremy, why don't you go ahead?
Oh, sorry. I was just with the voice cast. I could see them keeping Brian Tyree Henry and Chris Hemsworth and just not focusing on, Alita 1 and Bumblebee.
Sure.
Save some money there.
Bumblebee will probably be part of it because he's the kid character. But I just wanted to go to you anyway, because you haven't really talked about how where you see the future of Hasbro in their movies, though, because of the idea that they will be shifting focus back to what Hasbro does best.
I mean, I think we've been asking them to do this for years, and now that they're doing it, we're complaining. So, or a lot of people are complaining, but I feel like much like IDW was put down, or I mean, their troubles were because they were trying to finance all these TV shows and stuff. Hasbro's core competency is not in financing movies. So I'm optimistic about that side of things. The toys are going to get better. I think they're going to focus on the areas that they're good at. Paramount still has the rights to do the movies, and I'm hopeful that, like Charles said, the streaming numbers will be good, and it can find its audience. I don't think it's any secret to anybody that the marketing is the cause. It was horrible. I was just looking at the producers and on the Transformers 1. I mean, I think Lorenzo de Bonaventura is probably the main one, but like Michael Bay is still on there. Tom DeSanto is still on there, both from the live action movies. They're still going to want to make money. And I think, like I said earlier, Lorenzo has been still talked about the G.I. Joe movie. So I think that's where his interest is the Transformers G.I. Joe crossover movie, live action. So I think that's going to still happen. I really feel like, though, the critical acclaim that Transformers 1 got, and I guess we'll find out if it is getting any kind of award talk. I don't know when awards are. I don't pay attention to those very often, but
the start of the year.
Yeah. So, maybe if it gets nominated for a couple categories and, wins or in the running for Oscars and stuff, maybe that'll help sequel talks. But even if we don't have movies for a few years to kind of let things settle, I think the future is better than it has been, because the last 3 movies, like you said, have been more critically accepted. And if you want a better movie, you need to have a better story. And outside of the first Bay movie, the stories just weren't there. But then again, they're wanting to make money, and those movies made a lot more money. So, but I'm trying to be optimistic. There's not a lot that I'm optimistic about right now, but I'm trying to be optimistic here. And I was really hoping for a sequel for the Dungeons and Dragon movie too, because that was just a fun movie. So, but I don't know. I mean, I haven't watched Transformers 1 on streaming yet. I need to do that. But I'm hopeful that it finds its audience, because it was so good.
Right on. Yeah, we'll be here to talk about it when and if they do.
Yep. And shout out to friend of the show Yoshi, former host, who he did send me this article. I know we've all seen this article. We saw it all. It got plastered on all the Transformer sites, but he sent it to me like I think the day it was published. So he saw it and said, "Hey, this is good. This is good to talk about on the show."
Yeah.
So he's still thinking of us. He still remembers fondly, and we still remember him fondly. So thanks, Yoshi.
Yeah. And can't say how shocked I am that the fandom, completely misinterpreted what the story says. I'm completely shocked. Just never thought that would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's it for media news. And I think that will take us to the end of this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. So thanks everyone for watching and listening. If you have thoughts on the latest issue of Void Rivals, you can give us some feedback. Let us know what you thought. Or if you have thoughts on the future of Transformers movies, send us those thoughts too. And we'll be happy to discuss it further. But as always, we give a shout out to our masterpiece donatrons. These are the folks who continue to support the podcast at our highest level on Patreon, and that's why we think they deserve a mention in every episode. So thank you once again to John Forks Levengood and Steve C. So you guys are awesome, and we really appreciate your support. And we appreciate everyone who supports us and watches and listens to the show. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Enjoy your Black Friday. Hopefully you get, I guess it's kind of like Black November. The deals are all, throughout the whole month. So,
Yeah.
hope you found some good stuff for Christmas, to get for your friends and family, or something for yourself, whatever you want to do. Enjoy. And, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.